field of energy. Creating opportunity, creating possibilities. Inviting the calm, the harmony, the insight. Releasing the day, releasing tension. Releasing all that doesn't serve us now. As we invite this space, sacred, holy, silent, beautiful, where we are blessed by the sound of David's piano playing, blessed by this pyramid, for those of us who are here in person, blessed by whatever space you're in. We declare it sanctified, holy and sacred, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Shirley. Well, I am delighted to invite and welcome Jessica Neese to come and sing with us this evening. Jean Marie is off tonight and she'll be back next week, but in her stead, Jessica and I are going to carry you through with the chants. Now, the thing about the chants is they are simple by design. We like them that way. And they're repetitive so that you can kind of stop thinking a little bit, and just sort of let the voice and the heart carry. And if you want to just listen, God hears those prayers too. But they're designed in such a way that you can intone to whatever level of intonement you want. You can sing out nice and loud, or you can kind of gently whisper where you are. But we ask you to sing this prayer in your heart with us. I send my love.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy into the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me.
Now I send my power. I
over
send my power
over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power over the heavens, and it returns to me.
Let's just breathe a second. I send peace.
I send peace over the mountains. I send peace over the sea. I send peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns to me.
This is our Hindu chant in Sanskrit. Om Namah Shivaya. That's the whole lyric. Om Namah Shivaya. We sing it many, many times. And the translation of it is roughly, the divinity in me bows to the divinity in you. And sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 of them to sort of settle into my body and to really let the sound just roll out. Take your time finding your way into this song.
Let us allow the last few strains of that lovely mantra, reminding us that the divinity resides within us as well as in all whom we see. With reverence, we respect that light that shines in each and every heart. In this meditation time, I'm going to be using some words that Thich Nhat Hanh uses in his book, Living Buddha, Living Christ, that we are using in our teachings, this series. In this particular place, he teaches mindful breathing to work with a moving through our hearts, an experience of anger or resentment, some energy that we wish to not express in the world, but to process and allow it to move through. And we do it with our breath and condition it and transform it. And it goes like this. Breathing in, I recognize my feeling. Breathing out, I calm my feeling. He says if you practice this, not only will your feeling be calmed down, the energy of mindfulness will also help you see into the nature and roots of your anger. Mindfulness helps you be concentrated and looking deeply. It is the true meditation. The insight will come to you after some time of practice. You will see the truth about yourself and the truth about the person you thought to be the cause of your suffering. The insight will release you from your anger, transforming the room of anger inside of you. The transformation in you will also help transform another person. And so we'll practice this together as you settle yourself into place and breathe. Just allow your belly to move up and down with each breath, all the way in and all the way out. Finding the right posture, feet on the floor, your hands resting in your lap, shoulders back, head floating on your shoulders, on your neck, just slightly pointed up from the crown. And so as you breathe in, think as you hear these words. Breathing in, I recognize my feeling. Breathing out, I calm my feeling, whatever it is you wish to let go of. Transform or heal a resentment or an anger. Breathing in, I recognize my feeling. Breathing out, I calm my feeling. Breathing in, I recognize my feeling. Breathing out, I calm it, cool it with the out-breath, releasing it and its energy. Breathing in, I recognize my feeling. Breathing out, I calm my feeling now. Breathing in, I recognize the feeling changing. Breathing out, I release it and its energy now. Breathing in, I feel that feeling. I see it. Breathing out, I release it and its energy dissipates. Breathing in, I see the feeling. Breathing out, I release it and allow it to disintegrate. Breathing in, I see the feeling, I feel it. Breathing out, I release it and its energy. Breathing in, I see the feeling transforming in color, dissipating in strength. Breathing out, I calm the feeling and release its energy now. Breathing in, I see it transform into a new form. Breathing out, I release its energy to bless the world. Breathing in, see it now as it truly is. Breathing out, I let it go. Breathing in, I bless this feeling. Breathing out, I send it on its way. Breathing in, I draw in all who have stress and anger and feeling. Breathing out, I breathe out love to all to dissipate this feeling. Breathing in all the pain and suffering. Breathing out, transmuted life and love. Breathing in the pain, the hurt. Breathing out, cool love, healing, flow. Breathing in the love from an infinite source. Breathing out, love magnified to the world. Breathing in, peace. Breathing out, peace to the world. Breathing in peace. Breathing out peace to all. And so we take a deep breath in. And feel the cleansing of this time. In the center of our being, we may feel a vibration of resonance, of holiness, of love, a holy light vibrating, pulsing. Shining out, loving the world just as it is. And gently return now to this time and place, bringing the peace with us, bringing the love with us, bringing the spaciousness of mind and heart, bringing our experience as a blessing to the world. And so it is. Amen.
This time when we connect to our inner beings, to the sacred and the divine within, it's also a time when we connect with each other and with like-minded souls all over the world. And this ministry does have a mission of transformation, and we focus on being the best selves we can be so that we do allow more peace and joy and clarity to emerge through us as us. And so we give to this ministry from our gifts, from our faith, from our knowing, from our joy. And you can give through the text to give number on your screen, through the website. And for those of you here in this beautiful pyramid tonight, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Reverend Shirley. Thank you, Reverend Karen, for that beautiful meditation. Jessica and I are going to sing a song called Peace Lives Inside of Me. And it talks about there is peace on the earth. And I was asking Reverend Karen about that earlier, about, is that your experience of the news today? There's peace on the earth? And she said, very astutely, that, well, if there's peace anywhere, there's peace here. There's always peace. There's never peace, and there's always peace. Peace lives inside, and that's what this song is about. So, Jessica, here we go.
I am peace, so I let myself live in home. There will be peace when I live as one. I live so home and see. We can stand together, united by love, with God as creator and love as one. There is peace, peace in the earth, and peace lives inside of me. I'm healed, I'm free to love all humanity. There will be peace when I wake up and see I live so that I can be. Standing together, united with God, with love as creator, and love makes us one. There is peace, peace in the earth, and peace lives inside of me. I am peace, so I let myself see I live in harmony. There will be peace when the world sees as one. I live so the whole world can see. We can stand together, united by love, with God as creator, that love makes us one. There is peace, peace in the earth, and peace lives inside of me. I am peace, I'm healed, I'm free to love all humanity. There will be peace when I wake up and see I live so that I can be. Standing together, united by love, with God as creator, and love makes us one. There is peace, peace in the earth, and peace lives inside of me. Peace lives inside of me. Peace lives inside of me. Peace lives inside of me.
There it is.
That was lovely. And so true, too. How did you know? I'm so glad that you brought that song, because that's a beautiful reminder in a time of unpeace, of not peace, of seeming conditions, of conflict, and all of that. And you know, it's just a reminder: the world will never give us peace. It is not the world's nature to bring peace. It is the world's nature to be changing, to be shifting, to be constantly shuffling it up, to be in movement. And peace is just that beautiful space upon which everything else flows, everything else changes. But peace is the bedrock underneath it all. And so peace is always here. And for us to see peace in the world, we have to feel the peace. We have to see through the eyes of peace. We have to bring it ourselves. We are the bringers of the peace. And if the world will ever express it, it'll be because we're expressing it. And so just take that as your commitment to bring to the world, because it is already the burden of our hearts. It is already inside of us to speak, to walk, to act from. So I trust that all of you will take that to heart and find a way to do that this week. In this lesson for this evening, we are looking at a place where Thich Nhat Hanh talks about different ways of different disciplines, I would say. Precepts, he calls them, teachings that come out of Buddhism, but a way to practice a life that is in alignment with deep teachings of understanding life, of understanding love, of understanding our interconnection with all of life, and recognizing that as we bring something true into our experience or up-level ourselves to a higher expression of these different ideals, we are actually bringing it to the world. We are actually making it a benefit to others. We are actually modeling it, but we are also lifting the energy pattern. We're lifting the energetic vibration that others will also be influenced by, whether they recognize it came from me or from you or from over there. There's something that will suddenly lift an idea or bring something into being. And so this is the Buddhist view of things, but it is also our view of things as well. Here in Unity, we also see that this is how it is. In Thich Nhat Hanh's coining of the term interbeing, he's known for talking about that. He describes a Buddhist understanding of the relationship that all beings share. The impact of the quality and well-being of one life upon all the others. It is the responsibility of us volitional beings to make choices to support our own lives healthfully and in alignment with peace and generosity and loving kindness, so that all may live, so that all may thrive. This understanding calls us to lift our awareness above our own individual good, allowing our practice of self-care and healthy living, healthy habits of body, mind, and soul, to be an example and a contributor to the good of all. The peace we practice in our lives creates the vibration that radiates into the lives of others for the good of all. And so I've called this lesson For the Good of All this evening. Buddhism focuses on the embodiment of the teachings brought into practical experience. It has often been the case in Christianity, it has in my experience, that behaviors may follow a strict code as an article of faith. In other words, in my tradition, in Catholicism, I got really driven into what were the right behaviors, the way to behave, the way to speak, the way to act, the way to be, but not so much about transforming a change inside of me. I always waited for it to happen to me. And whether that was just a misunderstanding on my part, I'll just say that I didn't really feel that the practice of the goodness that I was trying to do was anything other than keeping me on the good side of God. You know, like I was trying to win, I was trying to God please, you know, I was people pleasing and God pleasing, right? It's not a terrible way to live, but it is such a limited way to live. And so in Buddhism, the practice is much deeper than that. It's intended to transform us. It's intended to change us. And that in the cases where we are practicing something by rote, where we're trying to say the right thing, do the right thing, dress the right way, be in agreement with a particular group of people, we find ourselves at war with ourselves in trying to stay good, like do it the good way. You know that picture that you often see of the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other, the temptation and the don't do that, you know better, that's not how it's supposed to be. You know, that back and forth thing. I don't know, you probably don't live like that anymore, right? You know, but this whole, the whole thing of it's a habit, it's a pattern that we use in our lives. So rather than a unified sense of peace in an established bond with divinity within us, which is how we could live, right? We could find that we already are the peace, as David and I were discussing, but we're already the pieces within us, but so is the divinity. The Om Namah Shivaya reminds us that the divinity in me bows to the divinity in you. That because I am in touch with the divinity in me, I now see it everywhere. I see it in it all. I see it in bad behavior. I see it in people who don't know it for themselves. I see it everywhere. From that enlightened place, we too can bring to the world for the good of all. They says that young people people find this type of obedient faith that I'm describing, this kind of fake it till you make it, do it the right way, behave properly, as not having anything worthwhile or beautiful or true about it. They're looking for something real, something tangible, and they recognize the smell of it. They know it when they see it. I think we all do at some level. We know when it's real. 2 weeks ago, I talked about my friend from New Braunfels who talked about seeing that the light is on in a teacher that he was finding, and when he came into our church, he perceived that in something I was saying and how I was behaving. He said, "Your light was on," and I knew it. It's like that. It's interesting that we all have that sense of it. It's sort of like we know it when we find it. Faye says when young people come to Plum Village, which is where he was teaching and where he lived, he says, I always encourage them to go back to their own tradition that they came from and get rerouted, he says. If they succeed in becoming reintegrated, he says they will be an important instrument in transforming and renewing their tradition. After an interfaith retreat in Santa Barbara, one young man told me, he says, I feel more Jewish than ever. He says, I will tell my rabbi that a Buddhist monk inspired me to go back to him. People from other traditions, he said, have said the same thing to me. Learning to touch deeply the jewels of our own tradition will allow us to understand and appreciate the values of other traditions, and this will benefit everyone. You see how it is? This isn't just for us. We keep thinking, our focus is always on getting ourselves in alignment, on getting ourselves right. Well, yes, it starts here because we're the only ones we can really affect. We're the only ones that we can change, no matter how hard we try to change other people. But I'll say, the most effective way for people around you to behave better is that you start behaving better. As soon as you start behaving better, as soon as you start living right, living according to the consciousness of your deep being, as you get in touch more and more of what is it that really matters to you, and where the love is, and where it flows, and where the peace is, and what brings you peace. When you start to get in touch with all of that, you start to live from that place, you start to emanate it, and people around you respond. And you'll start attracting people who are seeking that kind of experience or who are bringing it to you as well. The people around you will change because you've changed. Transformation is the goal, not conversion. You notice that he isn't interested in trying to turn them all into Buddhists. He is genuinely interested in transforming the world. And he loves it when they go back and bring the seed of that understanding or that deeper practice, that deeper wholeness, that deeper authenticity into whatever tradition they've come from, because that too will generate and emanate a ripple effect in the world. It will change the world. So he talks about the 5 wonderful precepts of Buddhism, he says. Precept number 1, I'm going to read it to you from the book. Precept number 1 is, aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I vow to cultivate compassion and learn ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I am determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to condone any act of killing in the world, in my thinking and in my way of life. And there's 4 more after that. You know, I was just like, when I got to that, I was like, I don't think I can speak on that tonight. It's like, that is, whoa, that is the highest bar I can imagine. He says, the first precept is born from the awareness that lives everywhere are being destroyed. We see the suffering caused by the destruction of life. Boy, don't we? And we vow to cultivate compassion and use it as a source of energy for the protection of people, animals, plants, and minerals. No act of killing can be justified. And not to kill is not enough. We must also learn ways to prevent others from killing. We cannot condone any act of killing, even in our minds. So how do we do that? How do we live from that? He says, the interesting thing is this. Let me see where I am with it. Yes. So here's what helped me to come to you with this teaching. If we all agree that killing is wrong and killing is the ending of life and it causes immeasurable suffering, one life to be snuffed out, it has a ripple effect in the area. I remember when I did a memorial service for a baby that had been lost and as a miscarriage before being birthed even. I was asked to do a memorial service for this soul. And I thought, I was just like, how do you do that? How do you recount a life that wasn't lived? Do you know what I mean? Because memorial services are about the beginning and the end and the in-between, and you share about that. And I was baffled until I just really kind of opened myself to understanding that here we were gathered in a room, whoever's going to be there has been deeply affected by the loss of this life. This life has already had a ripple effect by not being born, by being lost before birth. What kind of power is that? What kind of impact? What kinds of transformation? What kinds of lessons come out of that, right? So we recognize that when a life is taken of any kind, there is a ripple effect, and it happens with animals, ostensibly with plants, and minerals. Some say, well, that's just a rock, that's just static, but not in the bigger scheme of things, and not in the Buddhist way of thinking, not in our indigenous people's way of thinking. Stones are stone people. They have a very, very, very long life, and they have seen much over millennia at times. And they are the holders and the carriers of great history that has shaped them. That is why they're so awesome to us and so beautiful, and how so many of us are drawn to them and want to climb them and want to sit in them. Some of us want to eat them. I do at times. But there's a sense that there's, some life there. There's some wisdom in it. So in understanding that, all of that, it becomes overwhelming to consider how, I just said 10 minutes ago, you can't change how anybody else is going to act. How can you keep them from killing? The most obvious thing. How do you, if we can't affect others, we can't stop people from doing things, how can we be responsible for that? And he says this. He says, no one can practice this precept perfectly. Whew. We should not be too proud about being a vegetarian, for example. He says, we must acknowledge that the water in which we boil our vegetables contains many tiny microorganisms, not to mention the vegetables themselves. But even if we cannot be completely nonviolent by being vegetarian, we are going in the direction of nonviolence. If we want to head north, we can use the North Star to guide us. But it is impossible to ever arrive at the North Star. Our effort is only to proceed in that direction. If we create true harmony within ourselves, we will know how to deal with family, friends, and society. The practice of the first precept is a celebration of the reverence for life. When we appreciate and honor the beauty of life, we will make every effort to dwell deeply in the present moment and do whatever we can within our power to protect all life. For this precept, he says, for this precept, this is me speaking. I forgot my own notes. For this precept, I'll just say, I can't get into an internal argument of killing, not killing, right? I don't want to be walking around saying, I don't want to kill anything, I don't want to kill anything. That's killing, not killing. How can I not kill? I don't want to focus in that way. So for me, in my mind, I hold a sense of peace. Instead of killing, what instead I try to do is hold peace as a positive force for understanding that this power of peace that is already present within me, if I simply radiate this, if I begin to speak and to see that, how can I find peace? And how can I be an agent for peace? And how can I bring peace in this positive way to the world? How can I be the place of understanding as well as protection for those with life around me? Give that some consideration in your life. Precept number 2. Precept number 2 shows up right here. It says, aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I vow to practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. Yeah, I told you, this is high-level stuff, right? In this part of the not stealing, of the part of coming from a place of loving kindness, instead of not stealing, which again, practicing a negative or practicing a mantra with something that I don't want to plant in myself, for me, I jump to what the outcome of not stealing looks like, and the practice that he speaks of here is to practice generosity. I can get on that bandwagon myself. I can begin to recognize, how could I be more generous? How could I be more spacious, more giving, more aware of where there is a need that I could fill, that I could give to, that I could support. And I practice giving what I prize most. So what I would hoard, or what I would hold on to, or what I feel I never have enough of, for me, right now, it feels like time and my attention. I think my husband would agree. Time and attention to my loved ones. I find that I need to, for my practice, the generosity of giving of self is because to the people who I know and who I love and who are connected to me, I'm irreplaceable, as they are irreplaceable for me. They're not interchangeable. I can't get, different grandchildren. Sometimes I wish I could, but I love all my grandchildren. Actually, it's their adult parents that I'm willing to, try to. No, that's right. That's right. Is this being recorded? Anyway, that becomes the challenging generation. But the grandchildren and their behavior and everything, they're precious to me, and they're one of a kind, each and every one of them, and they're just beautiful faces to me, and I can't wait to see what they're going to become. Time and attention then becomes my gift. It also becomes my pleasure. It also becomes the thing that makes my life deeper and richer and more beautiful. Do you see? This isn't a transactional thing. You're not just doing or acting because these precepts tell you how to behave in the world. They are transforming and changing you if you deeply understand the process of it and bring that into your experience. They says, mindful time spent with the person we love is the fullest expression of true love and real generosity. In precept number 3, aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I am determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. That, again, an incredible responsibility if we're looking at it from the standpoint that we, by our own actions or by our own consciousness, can make an effect there. But this precept indicates that where we are leaning, where we practice a great reverence for love itself and for the use of our bodies and expressions of love, that where we have great reverence for that and where we respect the bonds and the commitments that others have made to each other, where we would not support violating that for any reason, and we ourselves would only enter into commitments that we feel fully ready to engage ourselves in. That becomes a holy commitment, And it can't help but build a deeper sense of bringing a great gift to a relationship and to the world, really, by the demonstration of that understanding. They says, a sexual relationship is an act of communion between body and spirit. This is a very important encounter, he says, not to be done in a casual manner. In our soul, there are certain areas, memories, pain, secrets that are private, that we would share only with the person we love and trust the most. We do not open our heart and show it to just anyone. Love is deep, beautiful, and whole, integrating body and spirit, requiring respect and communion of souls as well as bodies. Our bodies are not separate from our souls, they are the expression of our souls. Doesn't it take everything to a higher level? It brings everything to a holy sacrament in a way. It's a beautiful precept, and an explanation or a way of handling it is, I think, a way in which we can practice with more integrity. Precept number 4. It gets better. Let's see. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I vow to learn to speak mindfully, truthfully, with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain, and not to criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or the community to break. I will make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. That is being rigorous with one's word, being rigorous with one's truth and one's cleaning up one's messes as you go, rather than waiting to see if you get caught in it or not, if it causes a stink or not, right? This is a different way of living. I will say that, being true to one's word is a high value for me. Truth, to me, truth is all that matters. I gave a talk at the end of January, really. It's one of my personal precepts. Truth is all that matters. Peace is the goal. Love is the way. Truth is all that matters. So when we find the truth, whatever it is, I want to know what it is, because that's the shortcut through a bunch of pain and suffering. It is always the shortcut. It's what all this mess I've been going through or I'm about to go through is really about. If I can get to the truth of it, I'm already at the understanding and the transformation and the change. So in my life, I have found that I have practiced wherever I can. When I'm about to say something to someone about another person, there is a little thing in the back of my mind that comes up, would I be willing to say what I'm about to say to that person? Because if I send this out, there's a good chance it's going to find its way somewhere, right? Probably not exactly the way I said it, but probably close enough, you know. And I need to be in integrity with myself. And I would also like to prevent some pain and some embarrassment and some painful experience with another person. And so if I realize that this is not something that I would say to them, then it isn't helpful and it isn't useful, and it's easier for me not to say it at all. And I hold silence and I hold it back. Truly, my goal is always going to be, when I'm in my right mind, is always to be uplifting, healing, hope, helping, make something better. And if there's a truth that I feel like I need to share, or at least my truth as I understand it, I am willing to say that to the person as well, because therein lies the hope that something can change, either between us, or in the world, or in a condition, relationship, or circumstance of some kind. Truth is always the thing. And we're imperfect detectors of truth, but we do our best. And there's a place in us that resonates when we have hit on something that is deeply true. And so that brings us to precept number 5. Mindful consuming. Oh boy, nobody gets to leave on this one. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I vow to cultivate good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I vow to ingest only items that preserve peace, well-being, and joy in my body, in my consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family and all of society. I am determined not to use alcohol or other intoxicant, or to ingest foods or other items that contain toxins, such as certain TV programs, magazines, books, films, and conversations. I am aware that to damage my body or my consciousness with these poisons is to betray my ancestors, my parents, my society, and future generations. I will work to transform violence, fear, anger, and confusion in myself and in society by practicing a diet for myself and for society. I understand that a proper diet is crucial for self-transformation and for the transformation of society. Whew. That's a square. That's an arrow straight into the bullseye of American society, isn't it? Western values of consumerism. We already know that how lopsided consuming on this planet is, how lopsided it is in the ability for renewal to happen. Has been a great contributor to climate change and to the things that are changing massively. Lifestyles, weather patterns, growth, food growing patterns, the seas themselves rising. There's just every indicator that we are out of balance, and we have brought our planet out of balance by our behavior. That should be a pretty good reason to revisit how it is that we consume. What is it that we consume? He says, according to the teachings of emptiness, non-self, and interbeing, he says, your body is not yours alone. It also belongs to your ancestors, your parents, future generations, and all other living beings. Everything, even the trees and the clouds, has come together to bring about the presence of your body. Keeping your body healthy is the best way to express your gratitude to the whole cosmos, to all ancestors, and also not to betray future generations. You practice this precept for everyone. If you are healthy, everyone can benefit from it. When you are able to get out of the shell of your small self, you will see that you are interrelated to everyone and everything, that your every act is linked with the whole of humankind and the whole cosmos. To keep yourself healthy in body and mind is to be kind to all beings. The 5th precept, he says, is about health and healing. In understanding how it is that we can bring something more into being is to take care of the physical body that we have, to take care of our souls, our spirit, to bring forth into this expression more healthy, whole, truthful speaking, loving kindness, generosity of spirit, sharing of everything that we have, and giving from ourselves, knowing that every time we do it, not just that we do it from now on, full out, perfectly, which he says we already know we can't do, if we just remember that every instance and every choice we make, if we can up-level it and shoot for the North Star, that we are definitely making a better choice than we would have without paying any attention at all, doing it unmindfully, doing it out by rote and by reaction. He goes on to say in Christianity, the teachings of Jesus on love and peace are like those of the Buddha. He says all precepts and commandments are about love and understanding. Jesus gave his disciples the commandment to love God with all their being and to love their neighbors as themselves. This is just what we've been talking about throughout this evening. In 1 Corinthians it says, love is patient, love is kind. Love is not envious, arrogant, or rude. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not seek its own way. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. And Jesus gave his peace. He gave his peace to his disciples. He gave his peace to us. He says, peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. Peace activist A.J. Muste says, there is no way to peace. Peace is the way. Our way of being affects all of the world. Every time we embrace love, trust, reverence, peace, truth, we bless the world and lift it higher for the good of all. Namaste.
Thank you for that talk. It's so great to be able to spend time just listening, and your piano playing was so beautiful before the service. I was just so happy to be here, and just be in this space together. So, to me, the spiritual walk involves more and more honesty and integrity, like greater and greater, finer grained levels of honesty and integrity, and it's like there's always more. And I think of honesty too as not just not lying, but being aware, like recognizing how the universe works, recognizing who we are, recognizing, who I am as a divine being having a human experience. That is honesty. There's always more to learn about, I think.
Well, the point is, if I adhere to a precept of truth, like I said, my eyes are on truth, my eyes are on peace, my understanding is love is the way, then it becomes easy touchstones to ask myself, how can I apply those things I not just say I believe, but that I can feel my attraction, my pull to them. If that's the case, then how can I be them, or how can I act on them, or how can I bring them to mind? Because I wasn't acting that way just a second ago. I know I wasn't, and I wasn't thinking that. I was all spinning around up here. But if I get out of my head and get here, then suddenly I know this is There's something easier. And like you said, that relentless willingness to refine it, to be more of it, to be it more often, to expand the definition of what I thought it was, always discovering all the ways in which I've kept my life too small, where I could be bigger and better and more and be more joyous and more amazing and more, it's like have a life that's more amazing and bring people that you just didn't even know existed could be in it, It's like its own reward, right?
Yeah, and that's another aspect of honesty, right? Is what is going to lead me to have a fulfilling life? What can I stop doing that is not emerging, leading me to that fullest, highest self, that best self, that joy of being, and doing that, like you with your music, I think, because it seems to bring you joy, brings us joy.
Thank you. I need time to digest this. It is like I can tell you've had a little time to process it, and so you're in the zone of joy and fulfillment, and I get that too, but I get that idea. I don't get it viscerally as much yet, because I want to acknowledge that these 5 precepts are based on a fundamental premise that's inherent in Buddhism. It's not like this is like a new discovery, but anyway, our lesson tonight is standing resolutely on the thesis that life is suffering. That life is killing people, but us breathing kills things. That is just inherent in the human condition, is we kill things. My vegetarian friends, might refer to the fruits and the vegetables that they eat as gifts, but when you pull a carrot out of the ground, there's something more going on, So, and this is not necessarily a reconciliation for that, but sort of a divining rod of, you can lead toward the North Star. Okay, beautiful. But there's a part of me, the little bit of a cynic in me is thinking, now, why would I do this? Why would I stand on the premise that life is suffering and I need to be better in all these things? It's not that. It's only a page flip away from being a God pleaser, just to be a little mischievous about it, and to poke some of what's being said here tonight. But I think that you get on the other side of it, and it is about fulfillment and satisfaction and joy. I also want to acknowledge that it's a little late on time, and I'm just dying to bring up something else here. I'm gonna do it, and you hang in there just a second, okay?
We're going to keep talking, right?
But what motivates me in sharing it is that it's relating to real life. I don't want to be so heavenly minded that I'm no earthly good, nor does Thich Nhat Hanh. Let's be real, right? And what I'm chewing on with a fair amount of discomfort is how to be with bullies. All right? What do you do with a schoolyard bully? How do you stop them? Well, you beat them up. No, you don't do that. You can't do that. But to be a pacifist in the presence of bullying is going to get you beaten up. And to be a pacifist in a world where might makes right implies that there's enough space, and I mean this metaphorically, I mean it physically in physical space, and I mean in time and space, that there is enough space to wait it out. And in the face of the scale of bullying in the world right now, and if you hear that as political, then enjoy that. That's not my point. It is inherent. It is inherent in our world condition right now. And in the face of bullying, where's my North Star? And what inspires me asking it, and then surely I'll shut up and let you answer. I'm looking at all of the leaders of the world right now, sort of figuring out, WTF? What's this for? What am I supposed to do here? How do I respond to this? And so far, they're trying to be strategic, but it's some version of muscle flexing. And that's the precursor to becoming the bully. And we certainly don't want that, right? So I'm just like scratching my head, and then this lesson tonight comes up, point to the North Star. And bring some wisdom to that, Shirley, please.
Well, I think we sometimes have this idea that love is sweet and always calm and kind of passive, and I don't think that is actually accurate. I think love involves setting hard boundaries sometimes. Love is sometimes, this is my boundary, this is my limit, and crossing it is unacceptable, and I'm unwilling to allow myself to be treated that way. That's love, too. So I think setting boundaries, having some sense of justice and willingness of what do we want? What do we want this world to be? How do we want people to live? And I know, like for me lately, when I'm out walking my dog, sometimes at 10 o'clock at night, I'm like, I want everyone in the world to have this, to be able to walk safely down the street and not worry about bombs or having to flee or where am I going to get food or that kind of thing. So just allowing that to emerge through us, that this is the world we're going to create. This is the world we are creating, and it looks like chaos now, and it is chaotic in some places, but I think we need to be willing to stand firm, and that doesn't always mean being sweet about it.
So we need to probably wrap it up tonight, but I'm going to keep chewing on this and ask for more wisdom on this, because I agree with every single word you've said. And when those boundaries are violated, then what do? Do you defend yourself, or do you reset the boundary, or do you say, I'm a pacifist and I'm going to find enough space for this bullying behavior to dissipate? I'm just going to live into that question.
I would say this, that there are certain conditions and situations in life that I cannot hypothetically know from a hypothetical standpoint until I'm actually standing at that juncture with a broken down boundary as to what I would do or what I should do. That it's at that moment that the wisdom applies. The key is, how true am I holding to the things I say I value and believe? Peace, love, honor, authenticity, seeing the light, knowing that this person who's behaving in this way is not who they are, even if they don't know it yet. How can I be a reflection back to that? Those are my values. What will I do when that happens? I'll let you know.
That's perfectly brilliant, Reverend Karen. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I dig it. Hey, amen. Hallelujah.
This is our opportunity to take all of this into prayer, where we pray for ourselves, we pray for others, we pray for the world. So I invite you to settle in to your heart space. You might feel your heart expanding. You might feel your mind just letting go of all the thoughts and the pros and the cons and the lists and the difficulties, and just let your heart breathe, let your heart feel, let your heart reach out from the depths of your being, from the connection with the divine source, the infinite, the abundant, the eternal, all that is. And as we breathe, we realize that we are always connected to effective action, inspiration, intuition. Light guides our way. Doors open at the right times, appropriately as we need them to open. There are always solutions. There are always improvements. There are always ways to progress. There are always ways to improve ourselves and our situations for ourselves, for our neighbors, for our families, for all of the people of the world. And so we feel ourselves, each one of us, as a center of peace, a center of prosperity, a center of abundance, a center of love, a center of compassion, where we can soothe and be soothed, where we can witness disorder without becoming disorderly. We can witness chaos without becoming chaotic. That we are continuing on a path of progression in consciousness, learning, growing, connecting. And in this space, I invite you to call to mind, call into your heart, anyone and everyone that you would like to be supported in prayer right now. There is peace in the world because we are peace. There is love in the world because we are love. There is light in the world because we are light. We are grateful for all of our gifts, our resources, grateful for all of our friends and family, grateful for this community, grateful to be at home, feeling at home within our own minds, our own hearts, our own bodies, and extending that into the world. God is love and we are love. And so it is. Amen.
And now our prayer for the welfare of all beings. I invite you to speak this prayer together as soon as it comes up on the screen. There we go. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all.
So it is. Namaste, namaste, I bow to you. Namaste, 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 go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste, the light in me sees the light in you. Namaste, namaste, go shine your light into the world. Namaste, namaste.